The oneness of God essentially has two propositions. First of all, there is one God with no distinctions in his eternal essence, no persons or centers of consciousness. Manifestations, works, yes, we believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But at the end of the day, we believe in one personal God with one personality, one center of consciousness.
This is very similar to the ancient modalist heresy associated with Sibelius and Praxeas in the 3rd century. Modalists say God is one divine person who acts at various times as the Father who created the world, the Son who redeemed us, and the Holy Spirit who sanctifies us. They claim the only way there can be one God who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is if everything we know to be God, including the titles of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, belong only to one divine person who is made known in the flesh as Jesus Christ. Now, we have to be careful not to identify ancient modalism and modern oneness theology as if they were exactly the same belief systems. For example, some people think that ancient modalists believe that God becomes Father at one point, then he becomes the Son at another point in time, and then he becomes the Holy Spirit at yet other times. Ancient modalists may or may not have believed this, since there were different people advocating for modalism at that time. But here's Bernard saying modern oneness theologians do not hold that view, but they at least have some things in common with the ancient modalists.
It seems what they did hold in common, they did believe in the absolute deity of Jesus Christ. So they weren't Arians, they weren't Unitarians. They believed that Jesus was truly God. That's the first point, and we would agree with that. Second point, they did not believe God was three persons, but they believed somehow that Jesus Christ was the fullness of God. That one of them quoted, the Father is not the Son, the Father is in the Son, one God everywhere.
The main point for oneness advocates is that God is not three distinct eternal persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, who relate to each other. Instead, Bernard says that God is only Father in relation to us, his creatures. But one of the essential elements of the dogma of the Trinity is that not only are the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit equal in divinity to one another, they are also distinct in identity from one another. Here's what the Catechism says. The divine persons are really distinct from one another. God is one, but not solitary. Father, Son, Holy Spirit are not simply names designating modalities of the divine being, for they are really distinct from one another. He is not the Father who is the Son, nor is the Son he who is the Father, nor is the Holy Spirit he who is the Father or the Son. They are distinct from one another in their relations of origin. It is the Father who generates, the Son who is begotten, and the Holy Spirit who proceeds. The divine unity is triune.